being able to just go out there, and win the national championship, compete for a national championship. That's the biggest thing for me. I want to go out there. I want to win the championship before my time in college is done.
Welcome to another episode of Preferred Walk On. I'm your host, Max Chadwick. We've got another interview for you guys today. If you haven't already, check out the series of interviews that I've done so far with some of the best players in college football. And here's another one. LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels, my number 6 returning signal caller in college football. He was a 3-year starter at Arizona State, then transferred to LSU this past season and had the best year yet of his career. He was third team all SEC for PFF this past season. He led all quarterbacks in the country with 1,079 rushing yards. In fact, he was the only quarterback in college football with over 1,000 rushing yards. And he led all quarterbacks in the country with a 0.6% turnover-worthy play rate. So took really good care of the football as well. If you look at any sports book, he's one of the top 10 Heisman candidates heading into next season. Of course, as always, check out the feature article I did on Jayden Daniels over at pff.com. And of course, a major thank you to the executive producer of the show, also the head of creative content and communications at PFF, Dave Sofaro, sets up every single one of these interviews. And as you've seen, big time players are coming on this show and a lot more still to come as well. But without further ado, here he is, LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels.
First question I want to ask you, was there like a certain moment, in your childhood, there was for me when I was like, oh, maybe I can't make it in sports. Was there a moment for you in your childhood where you were like, oh, I'm better than everyone here on the field right now, and I could actually maybe give this football thing a go?
Uh, cause I'll say probably like my second year playing football, cause like my first year, I wasn't really that good. It was my first year playing football. I was scared of contact and everything. And then next year, that's when I started playing quarterback. So I started playing quarterback since I was 8, but I was playing everything else. So, that's something that me and my dad worked on. And like the jump from my first year to my second year, like you would think I'm a whole new player,
Mhm.
which I was. So that's pretty much when I figured out like, or well, my dad figured out like, oh, I could have something with this. But when I knew like I was like better than everybody, probably when I was like 11,
Mhm.
I was just dominating. I was the fastest. I wasn't the biggest. I was the fastest, probably the tallest. But I was dominating everything. So that's why I knew like I had the dreams, and aspirations.
Absolutely, man. And then, you're a very highly rated recruit coming out of high school. You went to Arizona State originally. How would you describe your few years there at Arizona State?
My few years there, I wouldn't change it for the world. Being able to go there, learn from Coach Herm, Antonio Pierce, Marvin Lewis, those guys.
Mhm.
I love those guys. I love for those guys to this day. They gave me an opportunity to go in there play as a 18-year-old freshman, against grown men. I remember them recruiting me and they saying like, you come here, if you do everything right, you have the opportunity to play. And that's all I really wanted was the opportunity. And then, my freshman year, I met like I really met like some of my best friends there. Two people I'm really close with, Brandon Ayuk and Rashad White.
Mhm.
So, I never would change those for the world.
Absolutely, man. So then obviously you entered the transfer portal last year, ended up at LSU. Why did you enter the transfer portal? And then ultimately, what made you decide on LSU as your next home?
I entered the transfer portal because I feel like I needed to take that next step in my career, for the life I wanted. I wanted to obviously reach the next level. So that's why I entered the transfer portal. And there's just a lot of things going on at the old school. So that's when I really decided to put my name in the portal. I chose LSU, once again the opportunity. And this time the opportunity was like the biggest stage in college football, playing the SEC West. You play against the Alabamas, the Ole Miss, you play against in the SEC, that's setting you up to be successful for the next level.
Absolutely, man. All right. Could you kind of break the hearts of another fan base right now? If you weren't going to LSU, what was the other school maybe in the portal that you probably would have ended up at?
I was looking at Oklahoma.
Okay.
So probably Oklahoma.
That would have been a lot of fun too. But I think you made the right choice, man, for sure, going to LSU. So before you got there, obviously LSU coming off their worst 2 year stretch in like 20 years, obviously did not continue this past year. Did you kind of go into it knowing, hey, this is not a rebuild, man? We're gonna come in, we're gonna hit the ground running immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to Coach Kelly. That was his thing. It was like it's not a rebuild. When I first got here, one of the first people to hit me up was Kyron Lacey.
Mm-hmm.
Was not committed. He was like, let me know when you get in town. We could work and this and that. So when I got here, I mean, I just seen the talent that we had. Obviously Coach Kelly, his resume speaks for itself. So when I came here and seeing the talent that we had, I knew we were going to be young on the offensive line. But those guys are talented. But once we just really just bought into what was going on, sky was the limit for us.
Absolutely, man. I say the moment last year that everyone kind of opened their eyes at LSU was like, oh, wait a minute. Like LSU's got like a real legit team. That Alabama game, dude, when you guys won in overtime, you played your ass off in that game. What do you think you remember the most from that thrilling ending?
Um, I mean, I'll probably because I'm real close with Bryce, so probably when we went down and scored with like a minute 40 left in the
Mm-hmm.
game. And I'm just like I'm hoping and praying or I take that back. They scored. He made an amazing play, breaking out like five dudes
Mm-hmm.
and scored. We went down to score, go up three, and I'm like, man, I just hope something happens. We don't have to go back on the field. But it's funny, they went down. He had a great drive, 2 minute drive. Kicked the field goal, tie the game. And it's funny, they get the ball first, they score. I remember telling QB assistant Dean, they were talking on the headset about plays, and I was like, well, if they call it a read option, like I'm gonna score. So basically, I called my own number in that situation. Um, and then obviously, the 2 point conversion speaks for itself.
Hell yeah, man. All right. So obviously you scored what would have been the game tying touchdown on that read option, like you said. Then everyone thought, okay, you're going to kick the extra point, go to the next time, let's go. You went for two, and it was everyone was like, "Holy crap!" Did you have to like convince Coach Kelly? Was that something that you were like, "Hey, Coach, let me do this," or was that always like kind of the plan going into it?
I mean, me and Coach Kerr were on the same page. I said I wanted to go for two. He said he wanted to go for two. We had a play initially and called a timeout. We went to the sideline. He's on the headset talking to the offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock, and it was like he was like, I want to get five on the move.
Mm-hmm.
Just be able to keep the ball in his hand. So they called up the play. But I mean, it wasn't hard to convince him at all. Coach Kelly got guts. I'm right with him. That's my coach. So I mean, I'm happy that he went for it. I'm bet all of Louisiana is happy too.
Dude, honestly, it's not a very hard call to make when you're the quarterback of that team either, man. So, what is your relationship like with Coach Kelly, and how you think both of you were able to come in, both of you, your first year at LSU, and turn it around so quickly?
I mean, Coach Kelly, his main thing is we have a process
Mm-hmm.
and a standard that we got to meet each and every day. He lays out each and every day, Monday through Sunday. So we know going into the week, like this is what we expect on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, Sunday. So I mean, it's really not hard, but just to build on a relationship with Coach Kelly, at first we were trying to get to know each other. He's trying to get to know me as a player and a quarterback because obviously it's our first time being together within the season. So I mean, as the season went on, the relationship grew more and more. As the team started playing better, he started to trust us more, and we started to trust him more. So it's an ongoing relationship, and now we're here in year two where he gives all reign to me. Go out there, be a leader, do what you do. This is your team. Because at the end of the day, to win the national championship, the team it has to be a player-led team. I feel like that we have that.
So one of the PFF stats that you were one of the best in the country at was turnover worthy play rate. You're one of the best quarterbacks in the country at taking care of the football. Had your best year yet as a passer, I would say. Is that something you can take a lot of pride in? Is not committing that many turnover worthy plays and really taking care of the football?
100%. If you turn the ball over, you're not giving your team the chance to win the game.
Mhm.
You know, this game is about possessions. Who gets more possessions at the end of the day. If you keep giving the opposing team possessions, even if you're up, let's say you're up 21 points, if you keep turning the ball over, you're going to get the team life
Mhm.
to go back and get back into the game. Even if you're down, you keep giving a good team possessions, at the end of the day, it's not going to work out in your favor. So for me, I take pride in, not turning the ball over, not putting the ball in harm's way. But got to be taking shots, but also being smart with it.
Absolutely, man. So, I'm sure the biggest win of the season last year was Alabama, but for LSU fans, they probably say one of the other biggest wins of the season was you coming back to LSU. They thought maybe you'd go to the NFL. What made you decide that you wanted to go for another year in LSU instead of, declaring for the NFL draft?
Yeah, I mean, I had the opportunity to declare for the draft. For me, I just felt like I had some unfinished business. I seen what we could be this next upcoming year. We had a lot of return on offense, another year in the system. Being able to just go out there, and win the national championship, compete for a national championship. That's the biggest thing for me. I want to go out there. I want to win the championship before my time in college is done.
Mhm.
Uh, and I have a lot of brothers out here, that I built relationship with. So I mean, it don't get no better than that. Being able to come back and play on the biggest stage, and it doesn't have to be behind anybody. Another year in the offense, another year in the off season in the system. So just go out there and be able to play football.
Absolutely, man. So you're one of the top Heisman candidates heading into next season. Is that kind of one of your goals that you're eyeing? Of course, the national championship is at the forefront of your mind, but is the Heisman Trophy something that you're kind of eyeing too this upcoming year?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I would be lying if I said it wasn't. Yeah, growing up, I always wanted to win the Heisman. That's things I talked about. So, me and my dad talked about that. So being able to go out there and, accomplish that goal, it'd be an honor for me.
Absolutely, man. Are there any quarterbacks in the NFL that either you model your game after, or you kind of look at and try to take things from them and implement in your own game?
I mean, I'll say like for me, it's like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, those type of guys. Pat Mahomes, the way those guys play football, how they command their offense, their unit. That's a big thing. Jalen Hurts, you see each and every week. He's commanding the respect of the guys, setting the standards so they can meet the requirements.
Absolutely, man. So, what do you think sets you apart from every other quarterback in college football?
I mean, I'll just say my playmaking ability.
Mhm.
We have a negative 5 yard play. I could turn it into a 30-yard game.
Mhm.
Uh, and just keep building on from there. Keep defenses off balance, and not being able to know how to defend me, how to defend this offense.
Yeah, 1000%, man. So we were talking about it earlier in the office, and we were saying like, man, LSU had a couple true freshmen last year that we thought were absolute superstars. Will Campbell, who protects your blind side, and of course Harold Perkins on the defensive side of the ball. What is your relationship like with Will and with Harold, and what makes them different? Do you think?
I mean, I love Will. Also, Emory Jones. The right tackle. Uh,
Yeah.
both true freshmen. It's not easy coming in, especially in SC and starting as true freshmen. You got to go up against like the Will Andersons
Mhm.
each and every week. You're going against top 5 picks at some point in their career. So I love those guys. Those are my linemen. We have a great relationship, even with Harold. Harold is a superstar. He's a we call him an alien. He does some things at practice that you don't see, that you don't know too many people can do. He's able to run down wide receivers, cover wide receivers down the field. So I mean, he's an alien. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Absolutely, man. So you're not one of the only quarterbacks to transfer into LSU and have success. Joe Burrow obviously did it before, won a Heisman Trophy, national championship, all like that. Have you ever been in contact with Joe? And then like how his journey, is that kind of played a part into why he chose LSU and wanted to go there?
Yeah, I mean, Joe was just out here for our spring game, so I was able to chop it up with him a little bit. He was just talking about how much he likes to see me play, how he likes to see my pocket movement, things like that. So he's a very cool guy. Being able to talk to somebody that came before me and was successful. Being the transfer, coming here, winning the national championship. Accomplishing all those goals, being a number one overall pick. So just asking, picking his brain about little things, be able just to build that relationship with somebody that came before me.
Are you kind of already eyeing that NFL and maybe after this, the upcoming year might be your last year of college football? Are you kind of have, looking an eye at the NFL, or are you all focused on this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all focused on this upcoming season. I know this will be my last year of college football, so the NFL is next. So I'm just focused on this last year, taking it day by day. Because at the end of the day, if I look too far ahead, I won't be in the present moment.
Absolutely, man. So what can we expect from not only Jayden Daniels, but the LSU Tigers this upcoming season?
I would say for us, it's just being a better team overall, being more disciplined. Second in the system, knowing what we want to do on offense and defense. With the players that we have, and I'll just say you will see the continuity between each, not both sides of the ball, but each unit. We're very tight on both sides of the ball. Offense, we're very tight. Defense, very tight, and then together, we like being around each other. So at the end of the day, that'll translate to the field.
Absolutely. Last question, man. Is there any game that you're kind of circling on your calendar next year and you cannot wait to play that team next year?
The first one, Florida
Oh,
State.
yeah. Florida
First,
State's gonna be a hell of a game. That's actually how it went last year too. I mean, that's probably one of the most anticipated games next year, man. But Jay, this is an awesome interview, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out. You're gonna be fucking killing this year, man. I'm
I
pumped.
appreciate it. Thank you.